Hey folks, so behind me is a big gathering protesting against Israel and its plans to annex big parts of the West Bank. We're here in Bay Ridge, New York, so we thought we might talk to some of the people who are protesting, find out what's going on, get their perspective on things. Very big gathering, lots of Palestinian flags behind me there. Quite a big protest.
Israel has made this claim that they're going to annex large parts of the West Bank, including very fertile farmland. This has given the green light to settlers to come in and terrorize more Palestinian farmers, burn down olive trees, terrorize people to get them to leave their homes, and then they enlarge the illegal settlements. We're saying no.
So why are you out here today?
To protest against what's going on in the Jordan Valley, because this is not the first time Israel annexed this territory. If you look at what's going on, they went against the 1947 plan, then the 1967 plan. Now it's everything is on the table.
I'm here because I'm a communist and I believe in defeating all apartheid states in the world, and I show my solidarity with the Palestinians.
As a Jew, I grew up as a socialist and a progressive. My family worked in the civil rights movement, and now we see people like Jared Kushner, and that's not American Judaism.
That the amount of land that Palestinians have been allowed to live on has been decreasing rapidly over the years, and they're constantly sending in settlers and destroying Palestinian homes, destroying their olive trees and their crops, and killing people and murdering people in Gaza.
I'm talking as a strategist now. Now, if they annex the Jordan Valley, it's World War III. Everything is on the table. Everything is a go. If Hamas fires missiles, if they do what they have to do at this point, if Israelis want peace, then all the Israelis in Palestine, in the West Bank, need to get out of our country, of our state right now, and then we can have a conversation. But until you guys are taking up space on our land, of course there is no conversation to have. You're in my house, you're on my land, and that's not just according to Palestinians, that's according to Israel. Go on Google Maps right now, guys. Go on Google Maps on your phone right now and zoom in on the West Bank. You're going to see hundreds of Israeli villages in Palestine. How does that make any sense? Israel is defying the borders that they drew on their own, and they drew them 4 times. The reason why Palestinians don't believe Israel should exist is because Israel as a country, and if you ask any Israeli that was here and ask them what type of government do you guys have, they said that they classify Israel as a Jewish democracy. When you classify anything as a Muslim democracy or a black democracy or a Christian democracy, you are automatically prioritizing your group of people over others. And it is why Palestinians, by definition, will never identify as Israeli, because by definition, they are defining themselves as second-class citizens, and we don't want to be second-class citizens, right? So Palestine as a nation recognizes that there are Arabs, there's Muslims, there's Jews, there's any type of people that wants to live in Palestine. You're welcome to live in Palestine. So to believe in Palestine as a state, you are by definition saying that you don't believe that any person's citizenship should be prioritized over anybody else. And it is why Palestinians will unapologetically say until the day they die that Israel shouldn't exist. Because when you say Israel should exist over Palestine, you are saying that Jews should be prioritized over all other people, which is why we have Jews over here right now in the front of our protest saying we disagree with this, because this is the same ideology that Hitler had in World War II when he said that whites were the supreme race. So to say that Jews is the supreme race is almost a satire. It sounds like a South Park episode. It is completely and utterly wrong.
And the connection between the Israeli training of their own military and the training of the militarization of the NYPD is very clear to all of us. So I'm here in support of freedom for Palestine.
I think that the Palestinian cause is really related to the whole cause of Black Lives Matter and anti-Muslim sentiment in the United States. I think they're really tied in. And, I grew up in the first civil rights movement in the 60s, and I just feel I have to be here to support people from all over the world.
No spontaneity. Unity is a means of channeling the energy of
what's going on. Netanyahu is taking Israel and the Arab world into World War III because they bomb Syria, they're bombing Iraq because they don't want a socialist republics to come in the Middle East. They destroyed Libya successfully. Syria, they failed. So now what they're gonna do is right after they annex Jordan Valley, we're talking about war. We're talking about the war in Syria to make all the Palestinians and all the Arab people bow down to Israel. And we're not gonna have it here in America.
But why are we giving $3.8 billion to begin with to a foreign nation? I don't care if it's Saudi Arabia. I don't care if it's Egypt. I don't care if it's any other country. That money should be in America, in the United States of America. It shouldn't be in another country. And because AIPAC has such a tight grip on U.S. senators and U.S. representatives in Congress and all over the government, you start to realize that this government doesn't represent us. It doesn't. And it's simply because of, it's not necessarily, I don't want to bring conspiracy theories in like, oh, the Jews own the media and all that stuff, because that's not the case. But if you look at this logically, AIPAC, an organization that supports Israel, is paying congressmen, congresspeople, and influencing them so that they support Israel over all other countries.
We're gonna put pressure, we're gonna make sure here in the US that there will be no World War III, okay, and that Israel will not get another dunam without blood being shed. Because this is, all right, in America, you have, in Florida, if you go, they have stand their ground laws. The Palestinians are standing their ground. So take that terrorist bullshit and show it up your Zionist ass, motherfucker.
Palestine! 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 Palestine!
So quite an interesting rally, and a lot of different voices represented. Now, New York City is a stronghold of pro-Zionist sentiments. People have commented that there are more Jewish people in New York City than actually in Israel. And so to come out now, during a pandemic, after there's been some huge crackdowns on protesters, this shows how widespread the support for the Palestinian people and how widespread opposition to Israel really is. This is New York City, and these folks, even though there's a pandemic going on, even though there's political repression going on, they're not afraid to come out and make clear they're not going to support Israel. So quite an interesting demonstration. Not in Manhattan, not downtown, but this is in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn, a working class neighborhood. And this is quite fascinating. So check it out. I'm glad you folks were with us. Heard some interesting comments today.
Over 70 years later, we continue to grow stronger.